Over 80% of adults use caffeine in some form or another. But if you prefer to get your caffeine from coffee, there's a good chance that you might be consuming more than you need to if your aim is to enhance your performance, but also minimize the downsides. Caffeine has a profound effect on brain function. And one of the reasons for this is that caffeine molecules are shaped very similarly to another type of molecule that floats around our brain called adenosine. When you drink coffee, the caffeine molecules compete with the adenosine, and this stimulates our nervous system. This stimulation is associated with the performance-enhancing effects of caffeine. This includes things like improved alertness, vigilance, attention, and reaction time. This is obviously great for work and even sports performance. However, many of us are likely consuming more caffeine than we need to enjoy these performance-enhancing benefits. It takes about 30 minutes for caffeine to reach peak concentrations in your blood plasma, and then you can enjoy the performance-enhancing effects for around 4 to 6 hours. However, this long half-life means that if you were to drink, say, a grande latte with an extra shot, which contains about 200 milligrams of caffeine at 7 a.m. on your morning commute, there could still be some caffeine hanging around, potentially enough to disrupt your sleep when you try to go to sleep at between 10:30 and 11 at night. If you drink coffee within 6 hours of trying to go to sleep, it could still reduce your sleep time by up to an hour. And what's worse than that, unfortunately, caffeine also has the effect of delaying your circadian rhythm. In practice, this means that it can be more difficult to go to sleep at the same time the next evening. So essentially, each day, you give yourself a small dose of jet lag. A common misconception about coffee is that espresso contains more caffeine than milky coffee drinks. However, the amount of caffeine in a coffee varies considerably relative to both the brewing method and also the volume of the drink. The espresso brewing method is actually a very efficient way of getting caffeine out of coffee beans, and it results in quite a concentrated drink. However, because the volume of an espresso is quite low, often you'll end up consuming less caffeine in absolute terms relative to other milky drinks, for example, like a latte, which might come in a bigger, larger volume glass, which means you end up consuming more caffeine than perhaps you realise. The ability of caffeine to enhance cognitive performance is dose dependent, but also relative to body mass. Studies suggest that we can enhance our cognitive performance with doses as low as 0.3 milligrams per kilogram per hour. For me, that's equivalent to about 23 milligrams per hour, which is just a small espresso cup filled with relatively weak French press coffee, for me being about 76 kilos. The message about caffeine, coffee, sleep, and performance is really quite simple. If you enjoy coffee, then try to consume it little and often, and stop as early as possible.